Alrighty, so today we're on part 3 of our Criminal Island playthrough. On the last episode we began making progress through the World Wars era. Hopefully today we can make it into the Cold War era. Depending on how it goes, we might end up making it all the way into the modern era. So let's get into it. We're 5 years into the run, everything's coming along pretty smoothly. The island's generating money. We activated industrialization, and I think I'm gonna try and get down at least one more steel mill. Yeah, actually, you know what? I think I'm gonna go ahead and try and get down both steel mills real quick. I'm finally gonna move this banana plantation somewhere a little out of the way now. So the thing about industrial buildings is that they produce a lot of pollution, so you kind of want to try and keep them away from your population. But you're not always going to be able to do that. But for now, I think that something like that ought to be fine. So now that our warehouse is finished, this is really to keep this is really to keep goods on the island that you want to put into your industry buildings. And so we don't want to be selling just raw tobacco straight off the island. So we want to keep the raw tobacco on the island and make sure that it gets put into our cigar factories. We can also start doing this for the coal as well as the iron. So now tobacco, coal, iron are all being kept on the island. So this means that our Tropicans will try and keep it here just so that we can guarantee that it gets processed. In terms of the raids, we have like 2 more raids to finish, and then hopefully we get a good final task. So if we check out the input storage on our steel mill here, we can see 2560. Total storage input for the coal as well as for the iron. And if we come check out the coal mine, 2560. And I believe it's the same thing. Yep, same thing for the iron mine. And so this means that one coal mine and one iron mine will be able to supply a whole steel mill. So because we have 2 and 2, that means that we can have a total of 2 steel mills. And we should never run into like production problems. And having the warehouse just guarantees that we'll never be like wasting the ores that we're mining. We have plenty of... Oh no, okay, so here's something that you kind of want to pay attention to as well. We have 10 unemployed people and we have 15 open jobs, but the thing is that these are 10 uneducated unemployed people. And all of our vacant jobs right now, you need at least a high school education. So we need to find something that we can get these guys doing that doesn't require an education. I think something really easy is just put down a gold mine. We'll just quick build it. So because we have two coal mines and both of them are going to be supplying our steel mills, I definitely want to set up at least one more extra coal mine. Reason being that we can supply a total of around 2 coal power plants with 1 coal mine. We'll just let that build up. We're getting a lot of production, we're getting a lot of industry, and I just have a pretty good feeling that we're going to start running into some problems with our Teamsters, and so I'm going to go ahead and just build up another Teamsters office. I think right there ought to be fine. This little 1x2 space, definitely not going to be used, so we'll just throw down a park. And so right now we're spending a lot of money, but all this money that we're spending, it's like 100% guaranteed to be generating us money. And so I'm setting up industry, I'm setting up extra mines, and so this entire time I've been losing money. I think I've spent like 40k in the past like 5-10 minutes. And the thing is that it's like an investment. So it's okay to spend money as long as you're guaranteeing that you're going to be making money in the future. I don't want to push these to like the max. The reason is that the efficiency, if you start getting like a really high efficiency on your industry buildings, then you're gonna be chewing through more resources. And so I would want to do this if I set up like another iron mine, coal mine. But this coal mine specifically, I'm going to try and set up some electricity. But thing is, getting a coal power plant down right now, that's like that's a pretty big investment. Not only that, it's going to be just chewing through money. A power plant doesn't directly start generating you money, so I don't want to build it until, honestly, let's see what else we can do to start making some extra money right now. It's a pretty weird little deposit. Bunch of gold mines over here. Maybe that would be pretty good, is setting up just like a whole bunch of gold mines, putting a bus station right in the middle. I don't plan on using gold for anything specifically. There's 2 industry buildings that you can use gold for. You got the jewelry workshops as well as electronics factory. But I mean, I don't plan on building either of those. So maybe this would be a pretty good investment. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So build a gold mine there, 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 and then 2 on this deposit. We're also gonna need the bus station, so we'll build the bus station kind of on the side of the town. Trying to run into spacing problems. That's okay though. Quick build this, guarantee it gets down sooner rather than later. And we'll just build a road way out here to this new mining location. I'm not going to go out of my way to quick build all this. Yeah, we're actually starting to get like a lot of vacant jobs now. Teamsters offices, all sorts of stuff. So we can just let that slowly build up, all of that over there. This, put on max budget. You always want to put the starting bus stop at the further location. Put this one right in front of our theater here. How are we doing in terms of homes? We're gonna need some more pretty soon. Another sabotage complete. So just one more to do. And we just got a whole bunch of new people. So now we definitely need some new homes. Let's see here. Gonna go ahead and do urban development again. And I'm gonna go ahead and just demolish all this up right here. And in these places here, just go ahead and fit in a bunch of new apartment complexes. Put these on higher priority. We need the houses up before the jobs. We only have one clinic up right now. It's probably always going to be constantly completely booked, so we could look into setting up another one soon. Nice thing about clinics is that generally, well, not right now, but usually they generate money every month, so you're not actually losing money every month by setting up clinics. That's generally how it goes, at least. I was talking about it in one of the previous episodes. I only want to use chapels for this island, so we could look into setting up some more chapels as well soon. So we just set up a whole bunch of ways that we're going to be generating money. Set up a bunch of new mines. Things are looking pretty good. We got our 2 steel mills down before industrialization ran out. So we're just being super efficient on this episode. Cruising along pretty well. We have one final sabotage to do. Before this era ends, I could look into... Hey, look at that gold. We'll just do the max one on that. Okay. So I have one open trade route, and I kind of want to leave it because I'm not going to fill these out within the next, like, maybe 10 years. So I want to leave at least some open trade routes, and the reason is that if we get the final task for this era, the one that requires us to do 4 trade routes, then honestly I would probably end up getting rid of both of these, buying another trade license, and then looking for imports that are less than 1,000 units. And if I can get off 4, like here, fireworks, 425. If I sign this, then as soon as a boat shows up, then this would automatically pop. And that would let us pretty quickly fill out one of the 4 requisite trade routes that the allies want us to finish. And so if we kind of got lucky and finished 4 of them really quick that way, then we'd be into the Cold War era pretty quickly. You always want to be clicking on your buildings out here, make sure that none of them have too much stuff on the storage. Looks like everything's working out fine. If you're curious, oh wow, look at this. Only 8 poor people. That's really good. Special citizens, 35 criminals. This is, I think, the most criminals I've ever had, and I'm not even trying. I don't know what's going on, but kind of just getting lucky with this. I guess not so much as lucky, but getting a lot of criminals early on. Interesting thing about all of your residential buildings, you can lower the budget and this will decrease housing quality, but right now this building is full, and so we're spending $64 a month to upkeep it, but we're making $180 a month. And so every month, no matter what, as long as it's full, we'll be generating an income. So this one's a little bit better. We're making $116 off of this building every month, and in its lifetime, it's only been up for like a year or 2. We've generated $2,000 off of the rents. And so that's really good. But what you can do is lower the budget. And so now we're only spending $32. And instead of 116, we'll see what it's like in the next month. Long story short, you'll make more money off of the rents the lower the budget. But it's going to make your population less happy. But just as an example. Oh wow, a bunch of people moved out of here. That's weird. I think it's not because the quality went down, it's just because there's like better housing options. Let's check this one out then. And everyone moved again. That's kind of funny. So this building's now completely full. Just a second ago we seen that it was at like 118, I think, for a fully lived in. Yeah, 116, but on the lowest budget, 148. But we're gonna leave all of these on the medium budget. Let's check out the max budget, 81. This means that if you electrified the building a quarter more, a quarter of 80 is 20. So just on a normal budget, or on max budget, with just these normal apartment buildings, if you electrify it, then you can reach a housing quality of 100. I feel like almost every single residential building in the entire game can give you a housing quality of 100. 75 if you electrified it an extra quarter. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure on every single building, residential building, you can get a housing quality of 100. But as you could hear, we finished our final sabotage, so let's see how lucky we are. We're now allies. Hit play. Hopefully we don't have to wait a decade. Oh, that is really good for us. Fulfill trade routes with the allies. So we have to do a total of 4. Hit accept. And let's just go quickly looking through, see what we got here. We still have this firework deal. We'll sign that. Let's see what else we got. Nothing else super great. We'll leave these up for right now. 2 months, we'll check back, see if we get any more import deals that we can quickly fulfill. In the next era, in the Cold War era, we unlock the next 2 political factions. I believe it's going to be the industrialist and the environmentalist. Specifically for this island, I think I'm going to support the industrialist faction. That's kind of Chicago-y, I feel like, at least during like the mid-1900s. Plenty of vacant jobs. And an adequate amount of vacant housing options. Our warehouse doesn't have any stuff in the storage, but at the same time... Oh, January. But at the same time, we aren't running into any problems with our industry buildings. And so this means that we don't have too much raw resources from our plantations and our mines, and we don't have too little. And so we have probably around like a perfect amount of everything. And like I said on the last episode, you can figure out how much you need, so by checking out input storages and output storages. So real quickly, I'll talk about it again. Cigar factory, input storage 8,000 raw tobacco, tobacco plantation, output storage 4,000. And so that means that you need 2 tobacco plantations for 1 cigar factory. But now it's January, let's check our trade routes. Let's see how lucky we get again. We can import rum, less than 1,000, perfect. We'll go ahead and purchase this. And it looks like we're not really getting anything else. Let's see if there's anything that we can sell. Nothing that we're trying to sell. We'll just stick on to how things are going. As we can see here, we're not selling coal, we're not selling iron, and we're not selling tobacco. And so that's really good. So we're selling whatever leftover produce we have, and steel, gold, and cigars. So now we're just making lots of money every time a boat shows up. And we're not being wasteful with any of our resources. I was talking about like how much production buildings you need for industry buildings, but the thing is that works if you're on, like if everything's around the same efficiency. And so cigar factory, 100% efficiency, that means that, oh, so we just finished rum and fireworks, so that was 2. And as we can see here, we finished 2 trade routes. In my beginner's guide I talk about this, and you want to be careful. Sometimes they'll ask for imports, sometimes they'll ask for exports. Here we got, well, this task, it's always, if you get the trade routes, this task is always going to be any trade route. So you can do imports or exports to finish this. But like I was talking about, kind of gauging how many production buildings you need for industry buildings only works if everything's around the same efficiency. And so these tobacco plantations, that one was 85, that one's 90, and then we have 100, and then another 80. So we have less than like really what we need. We'd want everything to be at 100. And so one of these is above 100, one's close. And so technically I think we'll eventually run into problems with the amount of tobacco we have, but hopefully that doesn't happen. And so that's why putting your factories on efficient, like the max budget, getting their efficiency really high isn't always that great, because it's going to be chewing through a lot of raw resources. And I mean, everyone's making a wage of $18 working here, so they definitely make enough to live on this island and have a comfortable life. These people are well off, don't know why they're living in shacks. Same thing with these people. I'm not sure if you knew this or not, but leveling up edicts makes them better. So child allowances. Previously, whenever you don't have this upgraded at all, as you can read down there, this edict costs $1 per child per month. At no levels, so as you can see with these stars, it's leveled up twice, and as you can see over here, hit level 2 on it, but whenever it's not leveled up, it costs a total of $3 per month per child. And so leveling up edicts, the only way you do that is just by having the edicts around for longer, but leveling them up makes them better. Penal quality increases immigration rate by 60%, that's kind of crazy. And I believe when this isn't leveled up, you get a monthly payment of $100, but now it's up to $300. Pretty nifty. Let's check out our research. So we have 1,700 research points. We can get the right to bear arms. But also there's something else I want, prohibition. Thing about prohibition, it's going to decrease the effectiveness of all of your entertainment buildings. The only one we have right now is our theater, but it increases the efficiency of everything else, which is kind of like a big bonus, but at the same time, it's going to kind of drag down your happiness of your whole island. Why everyone is not quite so happy. So you may have noticed throughout the course of this video, I've been kind of like glancing up here at the support. The support's been going down. One of the reasons might be, let's see here. We're building apartments in mines, which isn't making the religious faction happy. I didn't know they had a problem with that, but that's kind of whatever, because the rest of the factions are at least 50. But as you can see, the overall happiness of the island and the Caribbean happiness, the gap between them is kind of like shrinking over time. And so Caribbean happiness will tend to go up every month. If you can kind of see, it's going up by a pretty consistent rate. So you definitely want to be increasing the happiness of your island over time. So there's just like a bunch of things that we can do. Faith is really low. And I don't think it's really going to get above 46. But that's okay. Something that we can do is, well, Let me think here. Yeah, I think right now what I'm gonna do is right here. I'm gonna go ahead and demolish all of this. Make some space and come through and do a grocery. Oh no. This is not great planning. You know what? I have a pretty cool idea. What we can do is that. Demolish all of this. Come through, demolish all of this. So we just demolished a whole bunch of buildings here, but we can build a road over to the grocery. And then just to make it look kind of neat, we can put a clinic right here. And then we can also build a new apartment complex right here. We need a lot of new housing. Right now we need a total of 2 new apartment complexes. But that number's going to go up every time we demolish some extra housing here. So probably going to demolish all of this and maybe all of this. And then we'll just fit in some extra apartment complexes around here. Got a lot of vacant jobs, so we'll just kind of wait, see how things turn out over some time. Still gotta wait 6 months before we get any new trade deals. But let's see here. Allies want us to do a rescue raid, so I'm gonna go ahead and rescue a bunch of people, do the one that's many. Just want to get a bunch of people on here, start working at a bunch of these jobs. We're running into problems with our steel mills, not getting enough coal to them. But really, I think the problem is that we just don't quite have the workers to be fully staffing everything. Just to give you a little view of what's going on. We can see the pollution is kind of building up. It should be 0, as you see over here. And it's kind of building up around all of these new industry buildings. Not sure if you knew this, but residential buildings actually produce pollution as well. So it's gonna get worse over time, but eventually we'll just kind of have to build some public services to get rid of the pollution. And even after finishing up all of our these apartment complexes, we still have a bunch of housing that we need. Right about now would be the time that I move this palace even further back. But I think I'm gonna wait until we actually need, or we can actually build like the skyscraper apartment complexes. As a matter of fact, I have a pretty good little idea right here. Just go ahead and demolish all this, demolish that house there. This is a little 1x3 space. So we'll just slap down a lot past there. And we'll put a new apartment complex over here. Matter of fact, I'm just gonna quick build these up. I talk about it in the beginner's guide. Usually, whenever you set a building to the max budget, it'll end up just paying for itself. Let's see here. This building is completely full, so if we set it to the max budget, we actually make just a little bit of money. So a full building on the max budget will usually just pay for itself. But keeping everything on the medium budget will generate us kind of a lot of money off of the rents. But kind of like a late game thing, you want your residential buildings to be on the max budget, just so you can get like a nice chunk of, or like a pretty high housing happiness on the whole island. But for now, we definitely want to be generating profit from our island. Cigars, gold, steel, and some crops. Now the population can come to this grocery. The service quality is 60, so I was talking about in the last episode. If you leave a production building on allow local consumption, then people can come here to eat. This will serve any like class, broke, poor, anyone can come here. But Tropicans will actively search out a building that has the highest service quality. Not on everything, but for food, they definitely try and find the highest food quality. And so here, we can see the food quality is 42. The food quality for our grocery is 60. And so people will choose to come here, but if they're broke, then their only option is to come out to this plantation to get food. You can increase this quality by getting more food variety. And so really all we need to start doing is getting all the different food types. Kind of wasn't paying attention. Lost like a whole year here, but let's check it out. Cocoa, we can sign that. And we'll sign these bananas for right now. That could happen pretty quickly. I'm gonna go ahead and turn on Advanced Boat Services Edict as well. Increases the upkeep of Teamsters ports. docks by 50%. We're generating so much money that I kind of don't care, so let's... a freighter just left, and so it looks like about 4.5 months. So let's see what happens when we leave this edict on and the budget's maxed out. We'll have to wait until the next freighter shows up. It should be, I'm hoping, like 2 months. And so as you can see, the freighters are like pretty spread out, but activating that edict and increasing the budget on the dock should make these boats come a lot quicker. And we're about to get a bunch of new people. Look at that. Everything's looking pretty good there. Here we'll just take the money. Bunch of new people. We're gonna need some more steel mills. We need a total of 4 if we're gonna have 4 vehicle factories in the future. I could start producing some rubber from a plantation, but the thing is I kind of want to wait until we make it to the hydroponic plantation. But I mean, right now we're making kind of a lot of money, so let's see how many educated people we have. 52, 48 criminals. This is the most criminals that I've ever seen. That's pretty crazy, man. I wonder why. What is it? The island's like not even that criminalistic. I don't know what the problem is. It looks like shacks might be decreasing the crime safety nearby, but really there shouldn't be a problem. I was talking on the last episode about liberty, so real quick I'll just show you the liberty on the island. Near newspapers and media buildings it's going to be higher, but out here in the middle of nowhere it should be 50 everywhere. So as long as it stays above 50, you should never run into problems with rebels. But as you can see near this commando garrison, it's kind of dropping lower. So something cool you can do is research the right to bear arms. So we just finished that. I'm going to go ahead and get prohibition as well. And as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to activate both of these. So let's check out, we just checked out the liberty. Let's see what the crime safety looks like. It's really low near the dock, near the pirate cove, but for the rest of the island, you know, nothing below 50 for everywhere else. So activate the right to bear arms. Some upfront costs, but I don't think it costs extra money every month, so that's pretty nice. Now if we check out the crime safety of the whole island, yeah, a lot worse. Looks like out in the middle of nowhere, crime safety doesn't change, but definitely right here in the middle of town it's worse. And then as you can see by the dock and stuff, it's definitely spread out a bit more. Let's check the liberty. Liberty around the whole island should go up, yeah. So even if you're way out here, it was at 50, now it's at 65. And so the right to bear arms, activating that edict is going to increase the liberty all around the entire island. As you can see, like near the middle of town, it's getting pretty close to 100. So activating the right to bear arms will really help if you're running into problems with rebels. So that's pretty neat. And we'll activate prohibition. And now let's check prohibition really only affects like the effectiveness of all the buildings, but let's check crime safety. It also decreases crime safety. And for some reason, right here we're getting really low crime safety all around this chapel here for some reason. But like I said, we want a criminal island, so that shouldn't be too much of a problem. That should be a-okay for us. Something pretty cool is that you can research the busker. Gonna go ahead and do that. And the busker has a little work mode called pickpockets, decreases crime safety nearby, and also allows you to provide fun and happiness to broke Tropicans. And so like I said, I kind of just want to mix in like, you know, high-rise buildings, buildings for well-off and rich people all around the island, have kind of like a main road, have kind of like a skyline, with a bunch of tall buildings down the main road. And then I just want to mix in poor and broke Tropican infrastructure all throughout. And so we'll have like buskers with pickpockets and a bunch of chapels everywhere. So broke people will just be walking around. You can live on this island if you're broke. And they'll just be walking around everywhere. Things should be pretty neat eventually. In terms of every time you make it to a new era, you have to research 2 additional constitution topics. Right here we had labor policy and religion and state. Not really worried about either of these. Immigration, media independence, not worried about either of those. Global market economy, marriage rights, still not really worried about any of that. Support is now dropping below 50. The reason is that we're kind of making these 2 factions here upset. And on top of that, it's getting really close. Happiness to the Caribbean happiness. Faith happiness, really, really, really low. It's starting to get a lot of liberty happiness though. And then, so faith happiness, that should be what we do now. We'll just build up a number of chapels all around the island. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and relocate the palace way down at the end of the main road here. And then I'll go ahead and slap down an extra chapel here. Put one there, and this is going to be all industrial zone. Don't really want to build anything over there. And I guess maybe here will be fine. Quick build these 2. Yeah, it should be fine. Max out these. Help first, preach later. Like I said, this is one of the only ways to provide free healthcare to broke Tropicans, so that's pretty nifty. Go ahead and stretch this down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now things are turning out a little bit better. We're starting to fill up these, or we're starting to fill up the warehouse. That's pretty neat. I would rather have these near the max input storage. Finish this cocoa trade. And as a matter of fact, I should have came in here and chose this coffee trade. We'd be moving on to the next era right now, but it took a little bit of time. That's okay. Now we'll just wait for that. 3 months, 20 days. That's okay. So now we gotta wait 3 months, 20 days every time we want to get a new freighter. So increasing or decreasing this time, the time interval between each of the freighters showing up, will increase the amount of goods you can import. We just finished the busker building. Might as well slap down some of those. And as a matter of fact, we could look into putting something else down as well. Put down a busker here. And, well, yeah, we'll just stick with one for now. And so real quick, crime safety, it's pretty bad right here. It's kind of orange in this area around the chapel. But if we come down here, max out the budget, why not? Pickpockets, let's see how this turns out. People getting robbed already. And yeah, it went from orange to getting red. So the crime safety in this city is going to be really, really, really low, but that'll be okay. Still generating lots of money. That's good. As soon as this freighter shows up, which is going to be here in about 2 months, then we'll move on to the next era. We're running into problems with our support. Really the reason is that we're kind of slacking in terms of getting all of these up. Definitely in the next episode, I'll try and get healthcare like at least above 80. Start really cracking down on the food. Fun happiness, this is always going to be kind of terrible because prohibition. Service quality is already down to 57, which kind of sucks, but that's okay. And faith happiness, these two are always going to be low because we have prohibition, and then on top of that, we're only going to build chapels, so these two are going to be low. Housing quality, so food, healthcare, housing, we'll try to get those all above 80. Liberty is going to be really high, everyone's going to be really free here. And then job happiness, we'll try and get that as high as possible. But job happiness is never going to be 100. Typically, I don't play on ×4 speed, but I mean, there's not much else that we have to really worry about right now. Could build some new housing. So we just finished the 4th trade route. Progress to the Cold War. Cool. So let's deal with all this real quick. Economy first, increases efficiency of industrial buildings, increases pollution. Decreases power consumption, decreases efficiency of all industrial buildings and their pollution by 5%. I think this is going to be the one that we're going to go with. Terms of separation of powers, the end goal is to get $2 million into our Swiss bank account, and so I think official separation is going to work best. It means we're going to have to build a courthouse, but that's okay. Confirm changes. And just like that, we made it to the Cold War era. And so in the next episode, I'm going to quickly make it through this era and we'll start building up our huge downtown area. Start getting a lot of criminals. Hopefully we'll get Al Capone living on the island. Be pretty cool. But if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like. If you want to follow along with more series like this, then be sure to subscribe. Peace.